friends.
There you go.
It's great to be back on Double Take the podcast. I'm Chris, and Josh is here with us. And
Hi, friends.
also, we have a very special guest today, none other than Mr. Ivan Parker.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, friends. That's what you got to go with.
And,
You've dealt with some of those easy-speaking tenors before, hadn't you?
Oh, yeah. That really make you go cross-eyed when you...
We're here.
No
in
offense.
Franklin, Tennessee. No offense taken, Ivan, of course. Listen. You're an icon. You can say whatever you want to.
Say whatever you want.
You can get by with anything. Oh. But we're here in Franklin, Tennessee, and we're celebrating the release party of Gold City's brand new Christmas album.
That's right.
And nobody knows that Ivan's going to be here with us tonight.
No idea. We've kept it a secret.
We have kept it a secret.
Yeah.
He is our special guest. But
and we've been trying to do this podcast for like 6 months now.
Yeah.
Figuring out a time to get you.
And I know the last time you texted me said, well, let's just catch it the next time we're in town.
Yeah.
Well, here we are.
Here we are. Both of us are in town.
Here we
so
are. We're in town.
Well. Absolutely. We thank you for doing it.
Man, this is an honor.
I'll start out by saying, you've kind of already said icon, but I'm just going to go on record right now. This is the greatest quartet lead singer that's ever drawn a breath.
Absolutely.
So everybody else, and anybody that don't agree with that, well, I'll be glad to debate it. So
man, I love you, bub.
I
love you,
I mean,
man.
it's one of those things that so many singers pattern themselves after you, me being one, growing up, and you just kind of set the standard. You had Jake Hess, and Jake was absolutely incredible and did what he did, and then to me it was Jake and then Ivan. So
man, I tell you that those are big shoes to fill, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just read somewhere this week where Jake Hess inspired Elvis.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
You know that
I get it.
that was his pattern.
Yeah.
It was Jake, and I didn't know that until this
Right.
week. But man, you're absolutely so kind, because you're just an incredible singer yourself.
Well, thank you.
And I was listening to some of the songs you sent for on this Christmas record,
album,
and I'm like going, oh dear God, the boy's
Well, now
good.
wait, is that good or
The boy's good.
Okay.
The boy's good.
Thank you.
He's got the goods, and so to hear you say that, man.
Well, it's from the heart. Growing up, from about 14 or 15 on, I studied everything you did. Wow. So and then when Steve got involved, because Steve was from my hometown. You asked me earlier. I'm from down the road from Steve, like 5-10 minutes away from where Steve grew up. Steve Lacey.
Yeah.
So it just increased my interest in that Pillars of Faith album. I studied it. I knew both of your parts so well that if Tim ever called,
I'm ready.
I was ready to go.
Hey, Steve Lacey was another. He's another one of those
Incredible
powerful voices.
Yeah.
That absolutely. I think he was like the choir leader.
Yeah,
At North Glencoe
at
Baptist.
He was a music minister
And
there.
when Tim came to us and said, "Hey, I think we've got somebody we need to try out right here," and he was leading music at North Glencoe, and we were like, "Well, we need a singer. We don't need just a choir leader.
Right.
We need a singer." And I don't mean that in a bad way.
No, I know. I get you.
But somebody that's stage ready,
Sure.
that kind of thing. And whenever he came in and tried out, it's like, wow, they're good. That's a good blend.
Yeah,
It was a good blend.
Without
Yes.
even having the time to work it in.
Right.
It was automatically a good blend.
Yeah, and we're going to get all into that. I want today, and Chris and I have kind of talked. I want to get into. We're going to have to do this again. This is one of those things where we're not going to get it all covered today. The questions that I have, that you have, things that I know people want to know. So what I really want to do is just take this in a couple of parts, maybe 2 or 3 episodes, and dive into you growing up in North Carolina, the family, how you came up singing. Let's get into singing American Days and some of the stuff early parts of Gold City. And then kind of move on from there. But today, that's the focus. Is let's find out about Ivan, mom and dad, how y'all came up, the brother. I know Danny with the Harvesters and all of that. So tell us a little bit about the.
Well, I grew up in a small community area in the middle part of North Carolina, and it was a little community called Broadway, North Carolina. And my dad was actually a Pentecostal preacher.
Oh, wow.
And he pastored a lot of little small country type churches. Nothing big, just little small country churches. And I was the youngest of 7. There were 6 boys and 1 girl, and all the boys sang.
Yeah.
And I think I've told people a lot of times the reason Dad wanted us to start singing was if he goes out and has revivals, he don't have to look for singers.
There you go.
So he taught the older brothers how to sing. Well, that kind of started leaking into the younger generation of the Parker boys, and then all of a sudden I'm around it, and I'm walking around at 5 or 10 years old singing harmony parts. And it was a natural thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't something I'd learned. I just heard it,
Sure.
so I was able to sing it. And so the love of gospel music came at a very early age. And being around all my brothers and my family, and being in church all the time,
Sure.
that was a perfect platform to learn how to sing.
Was there any groups that came around in Central North Carolina that you went to see?
What years were that? What when you were I don't want to get. We know you got
Well,
a
I
little
don't
age
mind.
on you, Ivan. You know you don't look it. You look like you just left Gold City. But was that 60s?
Yeah, that was in the 60s.
Okay, so that would have been Statesman, Blackwood era quartet.
Right.
So were there any? Did they ever come around to that area?
They didn't come to exactly our area. I know back in those days, my brothers used to always talk about. They used to go to those all-night sings,
Yeah.
like in Charlotte, North Carolina, Raleigh,
Yeah.
and places like that. They'd go to those all-night sings. I guess they were tapering off by the time I was old enough to go.
Right.
But man, it was. We used to go hear the Stamps and the Oak Ridge Boys.
Oh,
Yeah, back when
the
there was
Rambos,
still gospel.
Downings.
Yeah.
We used to go hear them all the time in Fayetteville, Greensboro, Raleigh. Those areas, and I just fell in love with the music, and I wanted more. I couldn't have enough of it.
Did all you brothers? Did y'all sing together?
Yes, actually, the 3 older brothers they sang together, and then later on, the 3 younger brothers sang together.
Oh, okay.
And Danny, my brother,
Right.
that sings with the Harvesters, he had that great thing of wanting to sing gospel music. So he jumped out there and got a little bit on him, and then next thing you knew, I wanted to go with him. I wanted to go hear them sing and be a part of all that.
How much older is he than you?
About 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere along in there. Maybe just a tad more.
Yeah.
But it's
Now, what was the name of the group that y'all sang together in?
well, it started out as the Parker Brothers.
Okay.
And wasn't like the Monopoly Parker Brothers. It was it was the Gospel Parker Brothers.
Right.
And then Danny sang with several like regional groups that were just in our area.
Was
and
it
then
the Foundation?
Danny and I sang with a group called the Foundations.
Yeah, that's what I was-
back.
I thought so.
I guess that was probably in the 76.
Okay.
I guess it was.
So how old were you when you actually started singing with them?
I had just graduated from high school.
Okay.
Yep. I just graduated from high school and actually took my first full-time job was one that never gets any accolades. A group called Glory Road.
Glory Road.
They were very popular. They were actually singing full-time. And so right out of high school, I joined the Glory Road, and we toured through the summer, and I realized that wasn't the place that I needed to be. I loved it, I enjoyed it, but I felt like I needed to go back to school and get some kind of a degree, and get some kind of formal education. And so that's when we joined the Foundations, was at that point.
Okay.
And
now, was that the same Foundations that became Heaven Bound eventually?
Heaven Bound came out of that group.
Yeah, that's
yes.
what I
because that's why we came in, because those guys left.
Oh,
Jeff
okay.
Gibson and all those guys left and formed Heaven Bound.
I got you.
Wow. See, I didn't know. I had no idea about that. That's some of that North Carolina history
That's
coming
right.
out.
Yeah. And these groups were multiplying back then. And
It's interesting how, because you were in North Carolina, then Alabama, because of the rich history of gospel music in North Carolina and Alabama. I'm not sure there's two other states that there's so much gospel music history in.
That's true.
It's very interesting.
Bill Gaither always said, he said, I've come to the conclusion you can go to, if you need a singer or musician, you can go to North Carolina, shake a tree, and 5 will fall out. He used to say that all the time.
Yeah.
And that's probably true.
Yeah.
Very, very much so, because there were a lot of professional singers that just came out of North Carolina. I don't know if it was in the water or what, but everybody in our area loved Southern gospel music.
Yeah.
Wow.
For sure. So you went from, all right, so then you did the Foundations. Is that what it's called, the Foundations? Quartet or just the Foundations?
Just the Foundations, I think.
Yeah. All male quartet? All male?
All male, yep.
So from there was it from there to Singing Americans?
Then Danny and I formed a group called the Noblemen.
Ah, okay.
And then we sang until probably about 2 or 3 years later, I guess it was. So we sang together as that group for a while, and then I joined up with the Singing Americans.
Yeah. What year?
Singing Americans would have been probably, I'm going to say about 1981.
Okay.
Yeah, or it was it was 1982. March of 1982, I joined Singing Americans.
Yeah.
Ed Hill.
Yeah, and Danny.
And Danny Funderburk.
Yeah. Was he already there, or were you? He was.
He was already there.
Who was there before you singing lead? Do you remember?
Michael English.
That's right. I forget about that. But then
Michael was there twice.
Then he came back.
Right.
Yeah. So he left and went with the Goodmans.
Mm-hmm.
Rusty and Tanya.
Right.
And then ended up coming back after. I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Did he come back when you left for Gold City?
No, actually, that's when they hired Clayton Inman.
Okay.
The first time.
The first time. So you never want to go back twice. So I'm like,
try not to. not without a raise, anyway.
Yeah, so what was I've heard stories. How long were you there? About a year with the Americans?
I was with the Singing Americans a year.
Yeah.
And my plans were, my oldest son, Ryan, he was a year old when I went with the Singing Americans. And it was like by 1983, I was like, I need to come off the road. I need to spend more time at home. I need to do these kind of things. And I guess it was probably my last week of the notice that I was working with the Singing Americans. Mm-hmm. We did a concert date down in Columbus, Georgia. There were several groups on the program, and there was this new group called Gold City Quartet that were singing on the program, and so as we were getting ready to pack up and leave, Jerry Ritchie came to me, and said he was singing with the group and managing at the time, and said we would love for you to come to Gold City, and I was kind of like, who? Well, I mean, that's how new they were.
Oh, yeah.
I guess the only thing they had put out the live album, and Robe of White was it number one song? It wasn't, but
technically
it charted high.
Went to number 3.
3.
Yeah.
Chris is a Gold City historian.
Help us technically.
Well, I'll never forget the story Danny tells, and he said it's something that will stick in his mind. Was the actual first #1 song Gold City had?
I'll read it again.
I think I'll read it again. And he said, I think Teresa was helping with radio or something like that. Right. And he said he'll never forget y'all living up there in Dahlonega and Teresa running out of the back door. He said, in through the yard, just happy as she could be because she had just found out. I think I'll read it again went #1.
Yeah.
So the only going into, they had a little success with that album. Well, I mean, good success with that album, the live album. And Brian and Gary were there at that time.
Yes, Brian and Gary were there.
And then Jerry was actually singing lead. Ken Trussell was singing baritone, and he was leaving. So that opened the spot for you. So when they came to you and hit you with that, you were planning on coming off the road to be home a little bit more. What happened?
Well, I explained to Jerry, the reason why I was leaving, and that was to, go home and get a job and, raise my family.
Yeah.
And he actually gave me a couple records. He said, well, go home, think about it, and call me next week. And so I took that live record home, and so I told Teresa, I said, baby, there was a group down there in Georgia that I think they're offering me a job, I think. And I said, you want me to play you some of the record? And she said, sure. And I put it on, and by the time it got about halfway through that first song, What a Lovely Name.
Yeah.
Whenever Brian took.
Right.
She didn't know the group. She didn't have a clue who they were. And she says, stop. She said, stop the record. And I'm like, okay. And I stopped the record, and she said, Ivan, I just don't feel good about it. You don't need to take this. And
wow.
I said, why? She said, I'm not going to let you sing full time in a mixed group.
I know where it's going.
And I was stunned. And I'm like, what? A mixed group? And she said,
not a mixed group.
She said, yeah, absolutely. She said,
that woman there.
She said that's a mixed group. That's not a quartet. And
she said, and furthermore, it's a little girl.
Bingo. And I went, wait a minute. No, I said, honestly, that's a man singing. And she said, there's no way.
That is so funny.
And of course, I mean, we were all young, and and
Brian was very young.
And Brian had this tiny little voice, and I guess
it's a precious little voice.
Oh, precious as the day is long. And don't get me started.
I will.
But anyway, so that's how that got started. I said, I promise you. And I pulled out the cover, and I said, see this guy right here? I said,
that is a man.
That is a man. and he's singing the high part, the tenor. And so we just kind of talked about it, and then I flew down, and we sang a few songs together. Looked around Dahlonega, Georgia.
Yeah.
But we just kind of looked around Dahlonega, Georgia, and it was just kind of one of those things where why would we want to move from a big city to Dahlonega, Georgia?
What city were you in at the time?
Raleigh.
Raleigh, okay.
And
for real, because Dahlonega was not. I mean, Dahlonega now is kind of a tourist thing, and there's some neat things going on there. But back then,
they were still running bootleg. Yeah,
that was the main industry. The gold had left; they had to get into shine.
Yeah, they told us when we first moved there. They said, stay off all the back roads.
Wow.
But anyway. So we talked about it, and we decided to take a chance, and it's really unbelievable how that decision even came about, because it was like it was a spiritual thing that was leading, almost like I wasn't excited about it, but yet it was like something was leading me that direction. And so took the job, and then we went in right after I came with the group, and we recorded I Think I'll Read It Again.
Yeah.
And John saw.
It started
Shout and Growl.
Started the crazy.
And then it just went from there.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most incredible things I think any of us had. They didn't anticipate that we were going there.
Yeah.
I sure didn't anticipate it, you know. Thankful it did, but it was pretty unreal.
Well, it created when you went in to Gold City. Now this is just my opinion, and you know everybody's got one, but it created a sound that was definable, honestly, by two things: Ivan's lead voice that set the tone, and that sound, and Tim.
Yeah.
Because Tim's voice was so different, full, and it just became this iconic sound. Now all the moving parts around it, the band, Brian, Mike, Jerry, and then Mike, and then Steve, all incredible. All of it was incredible, but there was something about your voice and then that low end cut of Tim Riley.
Yeah.
That was just unexplainable almost.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I had never sang with a bass singer like Tim.
Well, there's not many.
It was like, you know, I remember standing on stage some of those first times, and it's like, man, it was just a wall of sound.
His projection, that's what always got me about Tim. And I've kind of told the story of singing at Norm Basden's funeral, and I never sang on stage with Tim. And it just happened. We had me and Tim and Danny, and then David Owen sang Midnight Cry. Because Norm wanted me to sing it. They were there. I said, come help me. When he opened his mouth to start, we didn't have mics. We were just around a pulpit. Yeah, it was the craziest thing, but it was that projection. That had to kind of catch you off guard a little bit the first time you heard it.
I'd listened to that live record just to learn the material, you know, so we could get started. So I was accustomed to the tone, but the live tone was like incredible.
I've never heard a bass singer that could do that could project like that.
And he'd take that Newman mic and stick it halfway down his throat.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy? Like on, and we're jumping ahead a little bit. We're going to go back. But 'Tis So Sweet to Trust in Jesus, y'all were just around his mic. And we would go back and watch videos of that, just random video people would have. He didn't come bearing into that mic on the low note. He was a respectable distance away, and you still heard this. Everybody was just perfect blend.
Yeah,
it's just fascinating.
His sinus cavity,
huge,
had to be huge.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
huge.
To radiate that kind of a sound.
Right.
The only other bass singer I know that had that kind of projection was London Paris.
Yeah, they always said that about London.
6 feet away from a microphone and project, and Tim had that same projection, but. When you came with the group, it just kind of sealed the.
It set the sound. Yeah, it set that iconic Gold City sound, and I think it's something quartets have been chasing for, whether they want to admit it or not, for years because of what that definable sound was. But those weren't easy times when the group was getting started. I mean, honestly, there was a lot of. It wasn't easy times, and we don't have to dive off into all that, but. Tell me just a little bit about some of the struggles of that y'all because you were going all the time.
That was probably the number one struggle.
Yeah,
honestly, because you know the group was just making some headway to, I guess, be a contender.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the full-time industry, and you know so. Man, we were singing at everything that came along. We never turned anything down.
Scared to death to turn it down, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just incredible how many days a year, because the Kingsmen, they were running neck and neck with us on the amount of dates a year.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Anthony Berger one time, and he was kind of bragging on how many dates the Kingsmen had worked that year, and it was like 300
time of
some
day.
dates that year. Well, Gold City, we were right there too.
That's unbelievable.
And it was like, looking back on it now, it's like, how did we ever have enough energy to do those many dates a year? Over 300 dates in a year time. But somehow or another we did it. I don't know how.
Probably helped that you were in your 20s.
It probably didn't hurt. Probably didn't hurt.
So you go down to the
early 20s.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what people don't understand. You left Gold City and you were early 30s?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because here we are putting the group together as it is now, and you're the youngest guy who's 39.
Right.
It's funny when you get to thinking about that, because what y'all were doing, you were a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
I mean, you really were.
And I think that had a lot to do with, how we were able to sustain.
If somebody came to me right now and said, this is what you want to do and this is your dream, and we're going to have you do 300 dates this year, what if they told you that? No. It's not even a. There's no way. There's just not even a thought.
Right.
Now, if I was a single man, maybe, but you were already married, had a one. I mean, you already had Ryan.
Yeah.
So the commitment of that is mind blowing to me.
Right.
That you guys could do it.
Well, it's mind blowing that we did it.
Yeah.
I mean, we actually did it for several years.
Ken Harding's rudely interrupting our podcast here. If you don't know who Ken is, go back and look up a previous episode of Double Take, and they can find out. Ken quickly shut the door and ran the other direction. It might have been. He may owe you some money, Ivan. That could be what it is.
Oh man, I do need to go catch him. By the way.
So after a while, y'all relocated to Gadsden. The ownership changed. Mr. Beck passed away, and the ownership changed, and so y'all elected to move kind of headquarters from Dahlonega back to the Gadsden area.
What a lot of people don't know is that ownership change was Ivan, Brian, Gary, and Tim becoming partners with Gold City.
Right.
Well, let me take you back. This may be a little snippet here.
Yeah.
Y'all might not even know, but whenever we were still living in Dahlonega, Tim actually was going to leave. He was going to leave the group and move back to Alabama, and so Jerry just felt like, hey, we've got to keep Tim. So in order to keep Tim, we need to move the group. We have no reason to be in Dahlonega now that Floyd's passed, and so let's just move the headquarters.
Well, things had changed because he had passed away, and then his wife honestly didn't care anything about the quartet world or any of that. That was Floyd. That was Mr. Beck's thing.
Right.
So it helped to make that decision.
Exactly, because they owned the bus.
Yeah.
They owned what we had.
Yeah.
So there was really nothing to pull us and hold us there, and because none of us had any family there.
And Gadsden seemed like a thriving metropolis coming from Dahlonega.
You know what? It gave us somewhere to eat besides Dairy Queen.
Well, now the Dairy Queens back then the food was amazing. So at least that was good.
But twice a day, that's not good. So that's how that transition happened.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Alabama, and then after that, man, we were just.
And Mike came with the group.
Yeah, we were just recording some records. What was next after I think I read it again? Walk On?
That was Walk On.
And Sing with the Angels?
Sing with the Angels. And then Double Take.
And then that's when the transition happened.
Yeah, okay.
Merry Christmas, everyone. This is Jeff Chapman of Gold City, inviting you this holiday season to our presentation of a Gold City Christmas 2025 tour. Come join us for a wonderful evening of Christ-centered songs of the season, featuring the Band of Gold live and our special guest, Jim and Melissa Brady.
How I'm longing to ski through the snow.
And the Irwins.
Goodwill, may your dreams take flight.
We will be visiting 12 cities on our 2025 Christmas tour and performing songs off of our brand new Christmas album, Hope in the Manger. Go to goldcityministries.com for all the details, and we'll see you this Christmas season.
So where were you going with that question before I, again, rudely interrupt you?
No.
I
was just saying, that was at that transition point, Mike joined the group, and then y'all recorded an album in Charleston, South Carolina called Double Take.
There you go.
So a neat thing about that too, that we discovered. So Danny sold the property. I don't know if you knew that.
Right. Yeah.
So we're clearing out a lot of things over there, and he found a ticket from the Double Take album.
Wow.
A ticket.
So Gold City promoted that concert themselves.
Right.
And the whole thing, but we've got an actual ticket, not a stub, an actual ticket from that night.
Wow.
That's in the archives now. So.
Yeah. And then a friend of ours sent us some pictures. He had went on the bus. Y'all took some buses over to Charleston with y'all to the recording.
Yep, we did.
And he sent us some pictures of that night. But that album had When I Get Carried Away on it.
Yep.
And at that point, when I Get Carried Away started, I think it won Song of the Year the next year.
Right.
That's when y'all started being nominated and winning the awards.
We got Song of the Year, Album of the Year.
Yeah.
We got
Double
that.
Take was Album of the Year. Wow.
Yeah.
It was a pretty big success, and then there was a song that came along, and I want you to tell the story because I think you kind of had a hand in discovering this.
So I'm gonna hand you this while we're.
But there was a song that came along on the next album.
This is the commemorative book that we put out for 45 years.
Oh, wow.
We'll sign this for you if you need us to.
Look at that.
But this is a history lesson in Gold City, right here.
Geez.
And there's a part in here that has the story of how that song came about. Go ahead, Chris.
There was a song on the following album called "The Midnight Cry."
Yeah.
And I don't know that there's. I mean, you talk about songs in gospel. I get chills. I'm getting chills talking about it. You think about songs in gospel music like "The Lighthouse" and "Because He Lives," and those songs that are timeless. That you ask anybody on the street if they know those songs, and they'll probably say they've heard it.
Mm-hmm.
"Midnight Cry" is one of those songs.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Song of the century.
It was voted the song of the century.
Yeah.
But tell us how "Midnight Cry" came about.
Well, and I don't know how. If I volunteered for this job, I lost my mind. But somehow or another, I got elected to come up with the material, the songs for all these albums.
Okay.
That meant you got to listen to all these demos on little cassette tapes.
Wow.
And boy, did you.
And I remember well when we were starting to prepare for an album. I just I kept all these songs that were sent to us in either boxes or plastic trash bags.
Wow.
And I would go in and I would just take it a trash bag at a time. That really sounds awful.
That's hilarious.
But even today, I still do this even today. But that's the only way that I can keep them together in one batch is to put them in a trash bag.
Yeah. There's that many.
There's that many.
Wow.
And we used to just, we would get songs every week from writers. And so I got to where I was contacting publishing companies, record companies, have you got any songs that you would like to throw our way? And then it was just sit there and just listen, and then I would have to hull it down from the top 50 to the top 20, and just keep bringing it down to try get the 10 that we wanted. And so it was a very long process of just getting to that point, because once I liked it, the Lord gave me he gave me a great instinct on arrangements, and so I could hear if this was a Tim song, or if it was a Brian song, or and I'd sort of just get some kind of idea. I'd take it to Gary, and let Gary listen to it and say, "This is kind of what I was thinking."
He was a decent arranger.
Yeah, he
Okay.
he wasn't bad from
Old poor boy from Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then it would just kind of, he would put some keys in it. He would change keys, modulations, and all this. If he really liked a song, man, he would just be on it that fast. And then
he had the attention span of a gnat too. So if that song didn't hook him, like if you played it for him,
that's why. And this is what a lot of people don't know. If I really believed in a song, I had to sell it to them.
Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, I mean, I've got my backup songs on this list I could go back to and say, well, what do you think about this one?
Yeah.
But I wanted these songs, so I would have to come up with as close to an arrangement as I could to make sure that they grabbed what I heard.
Yeah.
Right.
And what I was hearing. And so if I could sell it, then that meant I didn't have to go back to the trash bag.
I wonder how many incredible songs were left in the trash bag.
No, there's no telling.
There's no telling.
Because
Gold City was just, y'all were getting the songs though.
Oh.
People had figured out the radio success that you guys were having, so they got to just be throwing them at you.
Oh,
cut
they
my
were.
song. Cut
They
my song.
were.
Cut my song.
They were. I mean, it was coming. They were coming from every direction. And Midnight Cry, how it came about was we were working a school auditorium down in South Georgia, and there was a group on the program that night called the Accords, and Stan Schumann,
Yeah.
Greg and Chuck were singing in the group, and Greg came to me after the concert, handed me a cassette tape, and said, he said, I've written these songs, and he said, I've got them checked off. He said, the ones I think you'll be interested in. So when it came album time, I pulled that cassette out, and I was listening. They were a good quartet, and so pleasure listening to them instead of just a rough demo. It's good. And so I was just letting it just play through, and I'm like, okay, that's a good song. Okay, that's a good song. But I just let it play even through the ones that he had not checked.
Yeah.
Well, Midnight Cry was the last song on that cassette.
Had he not checked it?
He had not checked it.
Wow.
And because I was just letting it play, I went, wait a minute. And I went back and I listened to it again. I went, oh, dude, there's something here. But this is the message, the title,
Right.
Yeah.
all of these things were starting.
Did it hit
really
you
making-
that I'm going to sing this song?
I'm like thinking this is going to be something to really pay attention to. And so I remember whenever I took the cassette on the bus and Eldridge Fox was producing
Right.
us back then. And so he was like, okay, what have you got? Let's listen to them, and playing several songs. And of course I was trying to sell them to him as well,
Yeah.
as the group, just hoping they would hear what I was hearing,
Right.
And so I played them Midnight Cry, laid the lyrics in front of Eldridge, and he was following the lyrics, and probably about halfway through it, he reached over, took a pen, and he wrote number 1
Wow.
on the lyric
He
sheet.
called it.
I'll never forget.
People that may not know that are listening to us, Eldridge owned the Kingsman Quartet
Right.
at that time, yet he's producing Gold City. I've always thought that was funny, but Eldridge did a lot in the record industry.
He did. He helped a lot of people, but
Yeah.
he especially helped Gold City.
Yeah, he loved Gold City.
You know.
Well, see, here's what a lot of people don't remember or don't know, but that was a time whenever they were trying to find new talent And I don't know, the whole industry was looking for something. So let's if there's somebody good out there, let's pay attention. You know, and so Jim Hamill took the Singing Americans and said, "Well, I'm going to produce the Singing Americans."
Huh.
And Eldridge said, "Well, I'm going to produce Gold City." And they had a little rivalry going there.
Really?
Of which one was going to have the first number one song.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that part. I mean, I knew Hamill produced that sensational album that you were on with the Americans.
How neat.
But I didn't know that was a thing between him and Foxy.
That was that's kind of a little thing there.
Wow.
And so when I left the Singing Americans, it made Jim Hamill mad, but Eldridge was happy. So,
that's great.
So
that song on the Moving Up album, which is an incredible album, and what's neat to me about that album, Help Is on the Way, was on that album. I always loved Help Is on the Way. Hold on a little longer, Help Is on the Way.
Squire Parsons.
Love that song from the time I was a little kid, hearing that song, and Tim sounded like a tuba. Throughout, they had that Dixieland feel through. And I was always fascinated by there's some live stuff of y'all doing that actually with Mike on, I guess it was Kempton or Dillsburg or somewhere.
Yes.
Of Gary's playing. That it just tripped me out because Gary and I were close friends, very close friends, and I was always fascinated by his ability. Right. But what always got me so much, because gospel music pianists are just all over the place. Play it up and down the keyboard.
And
Gary,
for the most part,
he could.
And for the most part, he would play it different every night.
Well, that's the other thing.
Some of the others.
But watching that, and this was after I got to know him, obviously, when YouTube came out and we got to start to see some of this stuff. But y'all are singing Help Is on the Way, and he's playing this thing. Well, he does the intro. He just quits playing. He's fixing his seat, and he had ADD. I don't know if he ever admitted it, but I would always get on him. He's fidgeting and fixing, and just the bass and drums are carrying it. Then he puts this in, and then he'd put this in here and that, and then at times he'd eat it up. And it was but it left room for y'all.
Yeah.
There was never a time that his playing ever got in the way of what you guys were doing, and everything just meshed. It was the neatest sound.
He said, I'm not here to stand out and be the showman.
Yeah, because he could. He had. Everybody loved him anyway. He was hilarious.
He had the ability.
He was just so funny, and his he could do that stuff, but he didn't choose to do that.
No.
And then the jazz chords and the things that he would do were just so different. But that song, I don't know if you may not even know this, but we brought that song back on the Right Now album.
Mm-hmm.
And after all these years, 30 years, that song was the most played song of 2024. It was the number one song for the year, according to Spins. It shows the longevity and the timelessness of these songs that were recorded back in that time.
And to be honest with you, Josh, I think that was one of the things that I had a passion for songs.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it. I didn't know that I had a passion for these songwriters and these songs. And then whenever, I guess that's why the Lord put me in that seat, because I was interested in what made you write these words? What made you write this song? Where did it come from?
Yeah.
And Squire Parsons being one of my favorite people in the world.
Yeah.
I loved him.
Incredible writer, incredible singer.
Yeah.
As far as the lead, we're lead singers. My gracious alive, what a voice.
And every year that we would go into the studio to record a new record, I would call Squire and I'd say, man, it's time. What have you been working on? And, well, buddy, let me send you 3 that I've been working on. I'd say, and he'd wind up sending me 10.
Yeah. Probably all of them could have been recorded.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And they probably all were. They just Gold City
point,
passed first, and then somebody else grabbed them.
Right.
There's no telling how many number one songs were passed on from Gold City to someone else.
But he was such a sweet spirit that it was kind of something that I really wanted to accomplish, and so we were able to put at least one Squire album or one song of Squire's on every album.
Yeah,
because I loved him so much.
Yeah,
and he was always right on the money with the song.
There's no doubt.
And it was about that way with Sandy Knight too. She pretty much had a song.
Sandy
on, on every album because
Sandy was pouring them out.
We haven't made any announcements on this, but we got a very special thing coming up with Sandy next year. That we're excited about doing. So that'll be coming out before long. But we're gonna have to. We've been sitting here chatting. It seems like we just sat down, and then almost 40 minutes has passed.
Wow!
So we try to keep these things around 45 minutes or so. But before we stop for tonight, we're gonna do this again. Nobody get disappointed. This isn't the last time.
Well, there's some stuff I left out. I need to.
Yeah. There's some stuff we chose to leave out.
Yeah, we want to talk about the rest of the Gold City years. Then we want to talk about Ivan and your solo career and your work with Gaither and all that. We'll get into all
much
that
more.
Part 2 next time.
But tonight we invited you on a whim. Joel reached out to Joel Stapleton. We talk about Joel. We need to have Joel on sometime if we can ever get him in front of
we
a
do,
mic.
and people probably don't know who he is, but he's kind of our business manager. He helps us
even creative stuff, and some things. And there's so many things that Joel is doing.
He's a big part of the group.
But he said he texted me, "Who could we get to bring us out for our Christmas special?" And my first thing was, "About Ivan." And he said, "Can we get him?" And I said, "I don't know. Let me get a hold of him." And you graciously agreed to come welcome us out on stage tonight. I can't wait for the people to hear, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage.
It's going to be
the voice,
exciting.
Ivan Parker. So I know that's going to be.
I love y'all, man.
Well, it's going to be so special. But I want to thank you for coming to do this for us tonight, because it's an honor for all of us just to be in around you. You're such a hero, and I'm not trying to make you feel goofy or anything, but you are a hero to us.
You really are. I mean, we could go on and on and on. You'll not find a bigger fan of Ivan Parker than
no, you won't.
These two right here.
That's the way it is.
Well,
so
guys,
thank you so much.
I'm very humbled to this old country boy from North Carolina to even be where I am today. I don't know how I got here.
It's amazing.
But God orchestrated it.
Yeah.
And
well, you let him.
By way of Gold City years ago, that was my channel to live out a life here. So I'm just thankful that Gold City was in the path, and
it was incredible years.
A lot of bumps and bruises.
Yeah.
But hey, God won.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you for having me.